The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Ross with the Ross Report for 912 Sports. Week 1 of the high school football playoffs already under our belt as we move to the round of 16 in each classifications, headed to the quarterfinals and on to Atlanta at Turner Field for the state championships in December. First, we start in 7A. Camden County advances to take over East Coweta, 44-33 in a game where Jeff Heron moves on to the second round in his second stint back at Camden. Houston County, one of the bigger upsets of the year in the playoffs in the first round. They beat Brunswick in overtime, 29-28, going for 2 in overtime. Brunswick 20-0 in the regular season in the last 2 years, but only 1-2 with a first-round exit this year and a second-round exit last year in the playoffs. But great season for Brunswick, winning all their regular season games and taking a 23-game regular season winning streak into next year. Lee beats Effingham 57-7. It was Ware beating Jones County 55-13. Statesboro loses on the road at Dutchtown 45-0. Coffee over Ola 34-6. In 4A, Wayne County over Trinity Christian 31-13. Troup County beats New Hampstead 36-29. In AAA, Liberty County over Morgan County 19-14. Harlem ends long season. Congratulations to the Blue Tide. Back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time in school history. Harlem wins that one 35-0. Appling County in AA all over Waco. Washington County 65-14. Pierce advances over Laney 42-14. And Toombs County falls to Putnam County 30-6. Second round action coming up this week. KP and Sean have all the previews for you. I'm Robbie Ross. This is the Ross Report for 912 Sports.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Hello everybody, I'm Kevin Price for On Air with 912 Sports. Last Friday night, I was out at Glenn County Stadium once again for the first round game in the Class 6A state playoffs between Brunswick High School and Houston County. What a game it was. Literally went down to the final play. Houston County wins it on a 2-point conversion in overtime to knock the Pirates out of the playoffs with a 29-28 win there at Glenn County Stadium. It was a well of a ball game, like Coach Grady and I talked about as we did our final BHS football podcast of the season earlier this week. If you just showed up at the game, paid your money at the gate for a ticket, and sat in the stands and didn't care who wins, you got your money's worth, because it was a well of a football game by two really good teams. One of only a handful of games in the state that featured two ranked teams going at it. Brunswick ranked 8th in the state with an undefeated record after the regular season. Houston County 10th in the state with an 8-2 record after the regular season. So somebody really good was going to go home in the first round after this one was complete. Unfortunately, that became our 912 area team, the Brunswick High School Pirates. Anyway, it is what it is, but Brunswick actually trailed in that ball game Friday night 14-7 at halftime. Houston County jumped on top, extended their lead to 21-7 early in the third quarter, but the Pirates showed a lot of heart, a lot of character, came back in the second half, scored the final 14 points of regulation while their defense stymied that high-powered Houston County offense, kept them off the scoreboard. BHS rallied to tie that ball game up 21-21, scored the tying touchdown and keep the extra point right there with just under a minute left on the clock. That did give Houston County enough time, as I was afraid it might, with their explosiveness on offense, to get into field goal position. They actually missed a 30-yarder on the final play of regulation to possibly win it. So when they missed it wide left, the game did go into overtime. Brunswick took the ball first after losing the coin toss, scored right away, kicked the extra point, so led by 7 points on second down and 17 after taking the ball. Or second down and 12 after taking the ball at the 15. Houston County lost a couple of yards on first down. They scored on another pass play and then actually went for the 2 points. They knew they were going for it right away, never hesitated. Brunswick had a timeout in his hip pocket. Both teams get a timeout at the start of overtime. Brunswick called that timeout to make sure his defense was set, but Houston County stayed with the plan, went for two, and hit an open receiver in the back of the end zone on the very final play of the ball game to win that ball game 29-28. Their quarterback, Antoine Hill Jr., as good as advertised, threw for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's just a sophomore, depending on what recruiting service you look at would dictate how many stars he has by his name, but he's at least a 4-star, only a sophomore, like I say, and he's got offers from several major colleges, including Georgia, Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida, you name it, and he'll probably have more to come after this season is over, going into his junior year. But another great season by the Brunswick High School Pirates, a second straight outright Region 2 6A championship, another unbeaten regular season, 10-0. That's 2 years in a row now they've done it after that great 1999 team that went to the Class 4A final did it. Brunswick, of course, has won 22 regular season games in a row. They'll try to keep that streak going when they kick it off again next year in the 2023 season opener. So that's our football recaps from here in Glenn County on the weekend, but a lot of big games, of course, still coming up here in the 912 area code. Going to be interesting to see who can continue to carry the banner for the 912 area code in Southeast Georgia this week and hopefully deeper on into the playoffs. But that's how it went here in Brunswick last Friday night. For On Air with 912 Sports, I'm Kevin Price.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Spoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Sean. You know, at the start of the week, I walked out my front door to go do my podcast with a couple of coaches Monday morning and actually had on pants and a sweatshirt. So come, tomorrow night and maybe throughout these next few weeks of the playoffs, if we have some teams stick around, the fan bases might have to bundle up. It's kind of starting to feel like football season, and it's a good time of year here in the state of Georgia for sure.
Yeah, definitely some football weather. Kevin had some big surprises Friday night, had some big surprises Saturday night, and then we had some, things go to the way that we kind of expected to. So, but we're going to dive in right now and preview the 10 games that are coming up for this weekend. All games move back to Friday night, so they'll all be on the 18th this Friday. But like I said, we'll start off. Last time we started off in the high classifications and went down. Let's start off with the low classifications and go up. We didn't have anybody make it through from Division I out of Single A, but in Division II, which is the smaller of the two categories, still got 3 teams playing. But let's start off with Dooley County at Charlton. Charlton coming off a big 44-0 victory this past weekend and rolling right along. I tell you, Russ Murray's got those guys playing really, really well. Dooley County a step up in competition from what Charlton played there this past Friday night. But again, I think Charlton County probably rolls through this one as well.
Yeah, I filled out a bracket in all the classifications just for fun, and I think you did too, just to kind of see how we would do. And quite honestly, I had Charlton play in Jenkins County. Did you have Dooley County winning or not?
I have to look back and see, but I don't think I had Dooley County either.
I should have known. You were just kind of playing Christmas tree and tic-tac-toe with your bracket, but I know you had Charlton. And
I definitely had Charlton.
I like Charlton at home in the swamp. They seem to be getting that swagger back. That offense seems to be clicking, and this one points toward a Charlton victory. It is going to be a tougher matchup, like you said. Even though I didn't have Dooley, that's one I thought about as maybe a coin flip game there with Jenkins County. Hopefully Charlton's getting back into peak form and ready to make a little run here.
Right. Well, Jenkins was expected to even actually win the classification or the region we're fixing to talk about with MCA. So I mean, I'm like you. I'm pretty sure if I go back and look at my thing, I think I had Jenkins winning that game as well. But Dooley showed up, got the victory, and now they get to travel down to Folkestone to take on Charlton. So we'll see how that shakes out. But Kevin, the really big game in Single A double Division II is coming up at the Ship over in Darien this Friday night as Clinch County travels over to McIntosh. 2 heavyweights, 2 programs with a lot of storied history. I remember several years ago these guys played in a semifinal match to go to the Dome to play for a state championship. This is going to be a really, really good football game. Maybe one of the better ones in the state Friday night.
Yeah, for sure. A couple of ranked teams going at it. I think Clinch is 6th, McIntosh is 7th, depending on what poll you look at. You mentioned that game many years ago, but in more recent times, we talked a little bit about it last week when we were sort of previewing and thinking this might be the matchup. that they met, just a couple of years back in a game that ended in some controversy. We'll just leave it there. But Clinch did win that game in Darien, 23-17. I believe that was a first round game. Now, obviously, Sean, had Charlton not beaten Clinch, it would be the other way around. Charlton coming to play McIntosh County Academy. But I don't know who's going to win this game, Sean. It's really going to be dog eat dog, who takes advantage of some of the breaks in the game and that kinds of things. But I do know that, Clinch has had a high-powered offense, for most of the season. McIntosh is hard-nosed on defense. They're also physical on offense with several guys that can run the ball. So I think this is going to be a physical, low-scoring battle. It might take, somewhere in the 20s to win it, but I think this is going to be nip and tuck the whole way.
Yeah, and the good thing for MCA is they do get them down there in Darien, so it is a home game. Get that home field advantage. Clinch going to have to travel. But again, this I believe is a true coin flip as far as second round games go. I won't be surprised if I see either one of these teams, win this game. So we'll move right along and move up to AA. The two teams that we thought were going to be competing for the AA state championship, of course, are still playing. Pierce County going to be taking on Berrien. Berrien beat the number one seed Spencer, went on the road over to Columbus and got the job done. Berrien got a lot of good athletes, playing some really good football. They moved some guys around about mid-season and figured some things out. They got a number 4 that plays quarterback for them a lot, plays receiver, plays running back. Everything runs through number 4 for Berrien County. But Pierce County, listen, as long as you got number 1 on the field and number 8 and some of those other guys wearing that blue and silver, Pierce County is going to be just fine. So I talked to one of the coaches when I was doing my podcast, and he was like, "Have you seen it number 4?" I'm like, "Coach, do you understand they're saying the same thing in their staff room right now? Have you seen this number 1?" Because that's the same thing they're saying about DJ Bell. But going to be a good one in Bearville there Friday night.
Yeah, back to that Clinch McIntosh matchup real quick. The real good thing about that is we know somebody from the 912 area code.
There you go.
Southeast Georgia coverage area is moving on. So at the very least, we're going to have one team left in the playoffs, but certainly hopefully more. And speaking of more, I do think Pierce and Appling, two of the better teams in Southeast Georgia in any classification. I think this is the one classification in AA where we've really got a chance to maybe win a state championship, because we've got a chance to put two teams into the Final Four, those being both Pierce and Appling. Look, Pierce is built for this time of year. They're playoff tough. Anytime they're playing at home this time of year, that's even tougher for the other team. So a lot in Pierce's favor here. When you're the other team and you go into Bearville on a Friday night in November, or, say playoff football in semifinals in December, you kind of feel that vibe, that confidence. And another team later on down the line might have that same swagger, that same confidence, and Pierce will feel it in return. But here, Berrien's kind of playing with house money. I think they beat the number 1 seed last year. So this one adds up to a Pierce victory Friday night if they just go out and take care of business.
Yep. And the other game is going to be right down the road at Jimmy Swain Stadium there in Baxter, Georgia. It's Appling County is going to be facing Northeast. Northeast coming off really an upset, Kevin, in my book. They were a number 2 seed, but I thought Worth might get them because Worth plays in that really, really good region with Fitzgerald and all those other guys. But Northeast got it done. But now, oh, by the way, your prize, Northeast, is you get to go play one of the better teams in the state there in 2A. Coach Jordan Mullis has got the Appling County Pirates rolling right now. Jalen Johnson had a big weekend. The quarterback had a really big weekend, 4 touchdowns there for the Pirates there this past weekend. So going to be tough sledding for Northeast as they go into Appling this weekend.
Yeah, well, it might have been an upset in your bracket, but of course it was not an upset by the seeds. And I actually did pick Northeast. So to my credit, I got one up on you there. But hey, look, this might be a tougher matchup for Appling than the one Pierce is going to face in Berrien. Yeah. Northeast has some athletes. I think they're scoring at over 40 a clip a game and only giving up a little bit over 15. And if you look at their losses, Sean, they lost 28-27 to one of those teams you mentioned, Fitzgerald, the defending champ. And they also lost 14-13 to Spencer. So they've had 2 one-point losses there. This is a team with a lot of athletes, but obviously they're about to go into Baxley where they're going to meet a team that's big, fast, strong, and physical. Looks like Appling might have stepped it up a notch, Sean, if you look at that score last week, because they put up over 60 in that first round game. So I think they feel their chance to win a state championship, and they're going to march on with probably a maybe tough first half kind of thing, but they'll pull away before this one's over.
Yeah, look for Appling to roll on. That's going to move us up to 3A. We've got one team left in 3A as Liberty County was able to get the victory. Long County fell to Harlem, so they're gone from 3A. But Liberty County comes away 19-14 with a 19-14 win over the number 2 seed Morgan County. Liberty gets the opportunity now to get on the road, go to Thomasville to play a very good Thomasville Bulldog club. But listen, Liberty's playing good football right now, Kevin. I mean, I think Thomasville is probably the favorite in this game, but it would not surprise me if Liberty don't get it, figures out a way to get it done.
Well, Liberty won, 7 games now, and, I think maybe making the playoffs might have made their season. Of course, we all know that, they lost Coach Kurt Warner there, after a battle with a long illness earlier this year. But certainly to win that playoff game last week, I think makes the season for Liberty after all they've been through. So kudos to them. But, they're going over to the Rose City to play Thomasville. They're 8-3 on the season. They're ranked 6th in the state. They usually play pretty good defense, but Liberty does have some offensive firepower. So I think if they can line up, take care of the football, do all the things like that, maybe keep Thomasville backed up, keep them hemmed up, keep field position in their favor, they might be able to pull the upset here and march on. But certainly Liberty has had a good season to this point. I think anything else is gravy for them. This is going to be a tough assignment, but I wouldn't count Liberty out. Yeah, I think they got a chance.
Yeah, but we're pulling for you, Panthers. So go get it done. So got to be road warriors. Well, Kevin, that's going to cover us for the first 5 games. We got 5 more coming up in the second segment here as we preview the second round of the state playoffs here coming up this Friday on the 18th. But y'all stick around. We're going to pay a few bills and be right back here with more On Air with 912 Sports.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Welcome back, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Spoke, joined by Kevin Price, and we're going to do the second half of the 10 games here in the 912 coverage area. We did the first 5. We're going to go into the second 5 here, but we're going to start off with 4A, Kevin, Wayne County at Perry. Hats off to Coach J-Bo Shaw and what he's been able to do. Here's a team, Kevin, that did not win a game last year, went 0-10. He's got them in the playoffs, coming in as a 2 seed. Got a big victory this past Friday night. Let's see, who did they beat? I can't remember. Was Trinity Christian. Won that game 31-13 there at JC Stadium in Jessup. Going to be a little bit different story this week. Got to go on the road to play Perry, a very, very talented 4A team. I think Perry is a top 5 team. I think it might even be as high as 2 or 3 in some polls. So going to be a really, really tough matchup. But, hey, I'm not counting out Coach J-Bo Shaw. He's done amazing things with that team this year, and I think Wayne's got the got the ability to go on the road and get this one done.
Yeah, that game was played kind of by script, I guess, last week for Wayne County. They gave the ball to the Fuller kid, their running back, time and again. I think 25 carries for 175 yards, I believe it was, and they played strong defense. That's going to be the formula for winning, I think, throughout the playoffs for this Wayne County team. Certainly, they've rode that formula a long way since losing their starting quarterback early in the season, and it's probably going to have to be that way again for sure. Friday night against this really good Perry team that is good on both sides of the football, Sean. I think they've given up, single digits now defensively for like 7 or 8 straight games, maybe even 9, and they can score in bunches. They scored, I think, on their first 6 possessions the other night in their first round game. They have a 2,000-yard passer, a 1,000-yard receiver, and a 1,000-yard rusher. So I think the key for Wayne County is to keep that Perry offense off the field, on the sidelines, by handing that football to the Fuller kid, moving the chains, shortening the game. If they don't score, kick them deep, make Perry drive the football on you. Obviously, they have big playability, but I think this one's going to hang once again on the Wayne County defense. They've got to keep the score down and get that Perry offense off the field as quick as they can, but don't give up those big chunk plays if they have field position in their favor. Make them snap it, make them snap it, make them snap it. And hopefully they make a mistake and eventually have to give you the football back.
Yeah. And how about the football talent, Kevin, in Middle Georgia right now in Houston County? You got Perry, you got Houston County, you got Warner Robins, you got Northside Warner Robins. All these guys still playing in the second round of the the state playoffs. There's just a multitude of football talent right there in that area right now for all 4 of those schools to be still playing.
No question. I mean, Warner Robins might be the Little League baseball capital of Georgia, but it's certainly looking good in high school football at the moment.
Exactly. So let's move on now. We've got going into 5A. 4A, we did have New Hampstead, but they actually fell to Troup County, so they're gone. In 5A, we started out with 3. Statesboro lost to Dutchtown, but we still have 2 playing in Ware and Coffee, which we kind of expected. We're going to start off here with Ware County. Ware County is going to be playing Chamblee in Memorial Stadium this Friday night. So Chamblee got to make that long 4-hour bus ride down here to play Ware. Hey, Chamblee's a good football team, Kevin. Put up 60-something points this past Saturday night in their victory over McIntosh. Ware puts up 55 against Jones. Going to be a good, good matchup there in the Swamp Friday night. But I look for Ware to come out on top.
I told you not to worry about that Wayne game last year, Vince, or that Ware game last week, Vince Dooley. So listen here. I'm gonna talk about this game, and we're gonna go down memory lane. We're gonna have a little history lesson. Are you okay with that, Sean?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so Chamblee won their first playoff game the other night since 2007. So that's what, 15 years?
Yep.
Now in 2011, they lost 63-6 to a Tucker team coached by guess who? Franklin Stevens, on their way to a state championship up there in Tucker. Well, Chamblee went to the lowest of lows after that and ended up playing a non-region schedule for the last couple of years and actually had a winning record against a schedule that maybe has some teams that were tougher than actually what they might have played in a region schedule. I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, they were 9-1 against this non-region schedule and felt like they would have made the playoffs. But guess who their quarterback is? You know it, but for the fans out there, Fabian Walker Jr. is the quarterback at Chamblee. He's already thrown, I think, for over 5,000, maybe 6,000 yards in DeKalb County. He's one of their top 6 or 7 passers in their history. But if that name Fabian Walker rings a bell, it should. His dad was one of the most decorated passers in Georgia high school football history. When he left Americus in high school, he had thrown for over 8,000 yards and 80 touchdowns. Do you know who his coach was at that time, Sean? I'm sure you do.
At Americus?
It's a guy named Dan Regal that coached at Ware County after that. That similar offense that he ran at Ware, of course, he ran it at Americus. Fabian Walker went on to not do so much at Florida State, came back home to the Peach State and won in a wide-open spread offense there at Valdosta State, a national championship. He's the quarterback's coach for Chamblee.
Right.
So look here, though. Chamblee's not going to score 60 points in the Swamp. Now, some more history here. Ware has been to the state playoffs twice as the top-ranked team, and didn't fare so well. They lost, I think, a few years back in the second round against Mays. So second round game here.
Yep.
But Chamblee now is 0 for 10 all time against number 1 ranked teams. Now, I didn't do that research. I got it from Georgia High School Football Daily, so kudos to them. But Ware County will add to that, make it 11 losses to a number 1 ranked team. Next week in the quarterfinals, they'll get Calhoun, and we'll talk about what that means and what the quarterfinals mean next week. And that game, Sean, would be in the railroad town.
It definitely would be in regardless of where is able to advance, they will be home in round 3. So they know they've got that in their favor. But staying in 5A, Kevin, Coffee County rebound after that big loss to Ware County, gets a win. They beat Ola 34-6 this past Friday night. This week, Coffee has to go on the road and play Decatur. Decatur, a very solid 5A football team, a playoff perennial powerhouse. They're always in the playoffs. So going to be a tough sled there for Coach Mike Coe and the Trojans. But, hey, they've got the ability to go on the road and get it done.
No question. Last week, Coffee, played power football, physical football, ran that ball and did it well. I know they had one guy go over 100 yards, and their top rusher, Antoine McDuffie, just missed the 100-yard mark. I think he ran for 94, so he's closing in on 1,000 yards. The key here for Coffee is going to be to slow down this Decatur offense. Their quarterback, Harrison Hanna, threw for right at 225 yards last week and 2 touchdowns. He's thrown for over 2,600 yards, and his favorite receiver, Kenrick Lanier, I think caught both of those touchdowns last week. He's closing in on 1,000 yards. So Coffee's going to have to play good defense, run that football, and they'll march on.
Yeah, you got to keep that offense on the sidelines. That's sometimes a good offense is the best defense. Kevin, our 6A teams didn't fare so well, buddy. We started out with 3, and all 3 of them lost this past Friday night. So some tough breaks there, but 6A we're done. But moving on to 7A, one of the feel-good stories of the year, Coach Jeff Herron and his Camden County Wildcats with a big win this past Saturday night. That game was on Saturday as well. 44-33 over East Coweta. Now they get to go on the road and take on Grayson. A lot of subplots here, Kevin. Yeah. Grayson, where Coach Herron's won a state title at before. The new coach at Grayson now was Adam Carter. Was assistant under Coach Jeff Herron. He's off of Jeff Herron's tree. So going to be a lot of intrigue as they go into this game on Friday night. But listen, I think Camden's got the chops to go on the road and get it done.
Yeah, let me tell you, you took the words right out of my mouth. This is one of those games made for newspaper writers and talk show hosts like you and I. I mean, a lot of subplots in this game before you really get down to the X's and O's and what might happen on the field. You mentioned it. Jeff Herron went from Prince Avenue Christian. They lured him to Grayson, the lure back to the big time, if you will, in that 2016 season. He inherited a loaded team. I'll just leave it at that. But he took that team to a state championship. He got out of Dodge after that season, and he might tell you something different. But I know for a fact there were some things that he was uncomfortable with happening behind the scenes that he felt like he could not control or keep under control. Had a chance to go to where he knew some people at T.L. Hanna in South Carolina and see if he could win a state championship out of state. Did not do that, but had several good teams there. You mentioned Adam Carter. It's kind of teacher against student here. Adam Carter, former coach under Herron down at Camden County. He took that Grayson team, another loaded Grayson team, to the 2020 state championship. And I think they might have even won one of those mythical national championships. And here's another fact for you. And again, I sort of knew this, but had forgotten about it. Grayson and Camden rank only behind Lowndes in victories in Georgia's highest classification in this century. Now, of course, that from 2000 to 2022, but That's still good stuff. But I tell you what, Sean, Camden was behind in that game the other night, 21-17 at the half, dominated the third quarter, and went on to win that game in the fourth quarter. It was old school Camden football, taking that ball right on at them in the wing tee, making halftime adjustments and shutting down an East Coweta offense that kind of went up and down the field a little bit in the first half. And I tell you what, Camden did beat Lowndes. Grayson lost to Lowndes. I don't know how much I would put into that right now in terms of Grayson's side of it. But you're right. Camden has the chops if it's old school Camden that goes up there. Because you know what? old school Camden is pretty bad. You know what?
Yeah, they are. They can get it done, and like I said, and really, and just what a fantastic run over the last 3 games. You beat Valdosta, who's undefeated. You beat your perennial power Lowndes, and you go, then you get a big playoff win. So Coach Herron's got those guys playing good football there in Kingsland. So look out, Grayson. They're coming for you. So going to be a good one. But that brings us to our last game on the night. Frederica is going to travel to Deerfield, Windsor. I believe the school's over in Albany, Kevin. This is our GIA. Frederica won a region, got a bye, but now they got to go on the road for their first round playoffs. I don't even attempt to understand why that is the way it is, but I know it's some kind of ranking system, and that's the reason why they've got to go on the road. But listen, these guys have been playing great football. They've been feeding their big running back over there in Jordan Triplett. He's been getting the job done. So listen, I think Frederica's got the ability to go on the road and get a victory.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to get Brandon Derrick started on the Max Preps rankings, but that's what they use is Max Preps rankings, and it's like BCS rankings and uses all kind of numbers and whatnot. But one thing that is missing is Frederica won a region championship, and now they're having to go on the road, after a week off to play this opening game. They're the 6th seed against the number 3 seed. They've been good in the 6th hole before. Do your math and your research on that, and you can figure that out. In the interest of time, I won't go into all that. But I like Frederica's chances in this game because they're going to line up, play smash mouth football with Jordan Triplett. They're going to use the same formula they've used for the last few weeks to go on that run and win that region championship. And we'll see if it's good enough in somebody else's yard to win in the first round.
Yeah, a lot of great football coming up this weekend, Kevin. Get out and see a game. We'll be right back here next week. Hey, listen, next week is Thanksgiving week, so we will be on Wednesday night. So make yourself a note now. We'll be on Wednesday night next week as we get prepared for Thanksgiving and the playoffs roll right on through. Hey, listen, Kevin, if you're practicing football on Thanksgiving Day, you're having a pretty good year.
You're darn right. Then you go home and fill your belly up and go play football on Friday night.
Exactly. But, hey, we appreciate everybody watching. Stick around. We'll be right back here with more On Air with 912 Sports.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.